Hey guys, so let us talk about this week's episode of Sleepy Hollow, which I felt was like super creepy. I mean, like when the episode opens and we see this little girl just kind of like walking out of her house and into the like dark woods, I was just officially creeped out. I loved the whole premise of this episode, right? So it turns out that the Pied Piper is in town. There's this family in town, right? The Lancaster family, who basically is cursed. So every generation, the Pied Piper comes and basically takes one of their children. And this goes back like years and years ago when basically some Lancaster did something stupid to this guy. And so he's pretty much just been like exacting his revenge on the entire family. So a case that looks like a child abduction quickly turns into a case for Abby and Ichabod. There was no Jenny in this episode, and I officially do not like that. I want to see her in every single episode from now on. I don't like it when she's not there, so I totally missed her this week. We did get to see some of Captain Irving, and then Nicholas Hawley was, of course, back in this episode as well. Let's talk about Captain Irving for a second, right? Because we finally get kind of the consequences from that whole bit where he signed the letter with his blood, right? So he basically signed away his soul, is what my guess was. And in this episode, we kind of see him have this little premonition. So last week, Abby and Ichabod told him that Henry was bad and that he needed to stay away, but he calls Henry to basically fire him. And then they have this kind of little conversation. Also, Captain Irving has this kind of premonition one day, and he sees himself like in the future fighting with Henry, like alongside him, and his eyes are blacked out, and you pretty much get that he's just kind of become like a demon of war. So I think they're just kind of trying to put his character on the edge, and it's one of those things where it's like, which way will he go? And the fact that he kind of signed his name away in blood, does that mean that he doesn't have any choices anymore? I don't know, but I mean, it should be interesting, I guess. So Ichabod and Abby end up working with Nick to try to save this little girl. Now, we pretty much get from Nick's character that if he's involved, he wants something. He's not really there for the warm and fuzzies. Remember, I compared him to like a combination of Han Solo and Indiana Jones. Well, he was definitely more on the Han Solo side this week, where it was pretty much like, hey, I'm here because I'm going to make some money from this magical flute that we're going to find. I'm hoping that before the season's over, he has that moment that Han Solo had in Star Wars. You know, that moment when Han Solo came back to help Luke, even though he had said he was leaving. I'm hoping that Nick has that moment eventually. He hasn't had it yet. He was definitely all in it for selfish reasons this week, but then we're also kind of seeing the consequences of his actions. In the end, he ends up getting the flute, even though Abby breaks it, and we see this delivery person come to pick it up because he sold it for however much money. And in the end, we see that Henry ends up with it, and he's crushing it up, right? Which to me means that Henry's going to use it for something that's probably not going to be great. So pretty much Nick needs to get his crap together if he's going to be joining Team Abby and Ichabod. There was a really funny scene where Abby thought she was teaching Ichabod how to drive. I thought that was kind of hilarious. And then there was also this really kind of touching moment between them, right? Where you get that she wants to teach him how to drive just in case she dies and he ends up here kind of by himself. And then he tells her, like, look, we're going to be victorious or we're going to be defeated together. Like, neither one of us is leaving this place without the other. And I think for them, it's just another step of kind of joining them together. I think they're stronger the more united they are. So yeah, it was like a super creepy episode. And they had to go find this little girl like buried underground with this like crazy Pied Piper thing, and he was moving real fast, and it was crazy, and I was a little scared. So yeah, this week another good episode. To me, this season continues more and more to feel like it's building, like I'm still getting that sense of it. I don't feel like it's really settled in yet. It almost feels like each episode is a block that's sliding in, and that eventually, you know, a picture is going to start to come clear, or eventually we're going to kind of see some payoff for some of the things that we've been seeing so far this season. This show is so entertaining, though. I really just can't wait for that to happen. As always, make sure you tell me what you thought about this week's episode down in the comment section, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.